Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to have something a little bit different. So, long story short, about a few days ago, the girlfriend called me up one afternoon, and she said that the program she's attending is getting rid of a whole bunch of computer stuff. Now, I didn't really know how old the hardware was. They sent me some pictures, and they had desktops, monitors, printers. But they also had 9 of these Lenovo M93p tiny PCs. And these things are small. They're really small. Now, I haven't been inside them yet. I took the screws off to make things a little easier. We got a total of 9 of these. For the sake of making this video, well, short, not super long, I'm only going to work on maybe 3 of them. One of them has a note on it saying it's got a loud fan. It might be missing parts, I don't know. But judging by this V Pro sticker, I'm assuming these are probably Haswell. So they're maybe socket 1150, 1151, if I recall. That's what Haswell was. I could be wrong about that. But their IT department said that they all have the same specs. But that's really all I know. So I'm going to assume they also take laptop SODIMM modules, given their size. You're going to have a hard time fitting full-size memory in these. So I'll take a quick look in the front and back. Now they're all the same. The only difference that I've seen is some of them do have 2 DisplayPort connectors instead of 1, and some of them have a serial connector in place of the second DisplayPort connector. So that's really the only difference I can tell. So at the power button, a USB, microphone, headphone, and another USB port here. I've never seen a yellow one, and it has a battery icon on it, so I assume that this is a higher voltage USB connector for maybe charging devices. That'd be my guess anyway. So we have the proprietary connector, display port, 2 more USB ports, an ancient VGA connector, 1 gigabit LAN, I assume that is. Yeah, it's either 1 gigabit or 2.5 gigabit, but pretty sure that's 1 gigabit. Second display port, another USB port here, which I didn't even notice the first time when I looked at these, and a antenna for the Wi-Fi adapter. I don't know what Wi-Fi adapter is in this just yet. But let's go ahead and pop the cover and see what's in them. You just take the screw off the back, and from my understanding is you just slide the cover and faceplate forward. Oh, wow, it's got an SSD in it. So this one has a 240 gig Kingston, it looks like. I could be wrong, might be 120. But I've had a lot of these drives, so might be one or the other. Not a huge fan of Kingston. I've had a lot of reliability issues with their drives over the years. But, yeah, so you got a little fan here. I'm assuming these probably take low power Haswell processors maybe. And the RAM is underneath there along with the Wi-Fi chip. So, there's no screws holding the tray in. That's interesting. So I assume it's just pops off. Sorry if you can't see very well. This is the first time I've been using my phone's tripod in years, so not really sure how to use it quite yet. And the lighting in here is not great because I don't do videos very often. So this is in, let's see, it says 24. I'm not going to take it out, but I assume that that's the 240 gig SSD. Because all the ones I had in the past had 240 gig written on the bottom in that same spot. Okay, so let's take a look at the RAM really quick. Judging by those modules, I'm going to say that these are 8 gigabytes. No, these are 4 gigabytes. PC3L 12800S. So these are laptop modules. I don't know what the maximum these machines will take. I assume it's 16 gigs. I could be wrong. But yeah, so 8 gigs. So they told me that the specs for all the machines are the same. I don't know if the drives are the same across all of them. We'll take a look at these other two and we'll see later. And the Wi-Fi chip is an Intel Centrino Wireless N105. That's right here. I don't want to, get it too close to the camera because I don't want the drive falling out. But I think that's a 2.4 gigahertz adapter. So it's not great, but I can probably upgrade that to a 5 if I really wanted to, but I'm not too concerned about that. So that's pretty much all there is to see. I'm not going to take the fan off, check the CPU, because I don't want to disturb the thermal paste, because I'm running low on thermal paste at the moment and I don't really want to deal with that. So I'm just going to put this drive back in, put the cover on real quick, and then we'll see if this one powers on. Once I get it all aligned here. I think that one's quite in there just yet. Yeah, it is. Okay. So I have the monitor and everything hooked up. I just got to plug it in along with the keyboard and mouse and see what we're working with here. The drives, I assume, are probably wiped. It would be, good if they did wipe the drive, because definitely don't want any sensitive information on there, because it's weird to me that when I got these, that there were even drives in them to begin with. It's, usually good practice to either dispose of them or securely erase them, which they probably did, but I don't know. I don't work there. So we'll see in just a sec here. What CPUs we are working with. Gotta make sure this guy's switched over. This monitor likes to auto switch, so need to make sure that the device is on, otherwise it's going to switch back. All right, what do we got in here? So we have an i5 4570T. That's not too bad. 8 gigabytes of 1600 megahertz DDR3 with a Kingston SSD at 240 gigabytes is right there on the end. The CPU fan is operating. That's not too bad at all. So I'll do a quick power up test with probably, let's see, Debian maybe? Debian might work, or might do Arch. But let's take a quick boot into Arch and see what happens. Oh, I gotta turn off the PXE boot eventually too. I'm not gonna bother with that. Okay, let's see. Endeavor OS, normal mode, all GPUs. Just to do a quick boot up test to make sure it gets to the desktop, because sometimes these machines will actually have a technical problem that prevents them from getting past a certain point. I'll speed this part up so it doesn't take too long. And the system has indeed booted fine. So yeah, it's a 4th gen 4570T, 8 gigs of RAM. The Wi-Fi adapter is indeed 2.4 gigahertz. I'm not going to show that because it shows the name of the network and all that. But that's a good sign that this one is working. They didn't say whether all of them were working or not. They just said that they're going to be recycled. So there could have been a reason behind that. It could have been broken, could have been excess inventory. I don't know what the story is. I didn't ask them. But yeah, that's a good sign. So we got one that's working now. So go ahead and power this guy off, and we'll get to the next one, which may or may not be the exact same. I don't know. Get this unplugged for now. Get this moved over here. I really wish monitors had a button that you can press that prevents them from auto switching. Because when you're waiting for a signal from a system you're working on and you have another system connected that has a signal, it'll switch to that constantly if it can't detect it. And one thing that should be noted as well is the DisplayPort adapter I have here converts DisplayPort to HDMI, and it has a max support of the resolution is 1080p. Doesn't go any higher than that, and the monitor up there is 4K. So I don't know if Windows will work on these devices until I get a proper adapter, because I heard that the driver tends to be a little bit finicky with this generation, but could be wrong. So let's take a look at this one. It says someone's old PC makes noise, possible hard drive, parts, loud fan. So this one probably has a problem with the hard drive and the fan, maybe. This one has the same ports on the back of it. I didn't put the antenna on this one because it's one of the extras. I only got so many antennas. But yeah, it's pretty much the exact same on the back. Nothing to see there. So let's pop the cover. And this one is missing the drive and the Wi-Fi module, it looks like. Which I didn't really notice from the back immediately, but yeah, it's missing the Wi-Fi antenna here. Which it doesn't appear that this one was even equipped with one, because it's still got the metal plate in there. But it does have RAM. I don't know if I want to power this up though, because if this fan is loud, I don't know if the paste in here is any good or not. Might be enough just to get the spin up and see if it works, but I don't want to fry it. Let's take a look at the RAM real quick here. So I assume that this is the exact same. Different brand, but yeah, this is PC3L12800S. It's a 4 gig module. Yeah, this camera on my phone isn't super great, so sorry if you can't see that. But yeah, these are all 4 gig modules, all the same. So this one's kind of boring. There's not much to see inside here, so let's just plug it in and see if it comes to... Oh, the fan's unplugged. That's not good. Don't want to run it with a bad fan or unplugged fan. That's not a good thing. These cables are a little difficult to get in because of the size. Okay, there we go. So, get this powered on again. Need the mouse for this one, just the keyboard. I have very limited space to work in here, so I'm trying to get everything on camera. Okay, so I got this plugged in. I'm not going to turn it on until I got the monitor switched over. Okay, this one I think has a hardware problem. Okay. So that's probably why this one specifically was for parts, because it's got a hardware issue. Might just be the board. That's probably why they gutted it. Okay. Looks like it is bad RAM. It's either that or I didn't seat it properly, which was probably my fault. So let's try this again. Yeah, okay. I guess I didn't seat that module correctly. Happens sometimes. That CPU temperature is probably going to be a little bit high. That fan is making some noise. So this one is the exact same 4570T with 8 gigs of RAM, 1600 megahertz. There's no drive connected. I could put an SSD in here, one with a plastic cover. I don't want to put a hard drive in here because anything metal is going to short without the tray. I could just put a small piece of like cardboard or something, but I'm not going to risk that. So this one will probably just be used for parts. Doesn't tell me what the temperatures of the system are. But I think these ones had a diagnostic screen. I don't remember what button it was though. So I know some Lenovo systems have a diagnostic program. Oh, here we go. There we go. It doesn't tell me what the temperature is though. It's a little odd. You'd assume they would tell you this information because it's pretty important. Because that would tell me whether I have to repaste it or not. Okay, nope. So I might just have to boot up Arch and see if the sensors program will give me more information on that. That's weird. So we're back. Doesn't look like it needs paste, but 58 degrees is a little high. So I will mark this one as needing to be repasted, and we need to find a solution for that drive tray that's missing. The Wi-Fi adapter is kind of a missing thing, but I mean, if it's going to be hardwired, it's not going to be an issue. So this one, I will say it's working for the most part. Just needs a little bit of work. Okay, so power this one off. I got to unzoom. Oops. There we go. And now we got one more to go. So far it's 2 out of 3 that are working. And there was only 2 in the entire collection that had tape on them saying there's a problem. One was a faulty SSD, which I'm going to assume it took the SSD out of that one. And this one had, I think this is makes noise, parts, loud fan on it. So, yeah, okay. So now we have the last one here. And this one is pretty much the same on the back as the other 2. I think the ones with the serial ports are in storage right now because I'm only planning to use a couple at the moment. So let's take the cover off, and this one has a this one has a Samsung SSD in it. That's pretty good actually. The internals are pretty much all the same. I'm going to assume that the RAM is 8 gigs. The processor is probably the same as the other ones. This one has the Wi-Fi chip in it. So not really much else to see here. It's pretty much the same. So let's go ahead and spin this one up and see what we get. Need a keyboard. Where did I put the keyboard? Okay. Make sure the monitor's switched over before I plug this in. Doesn't. Okay. Let's see what we're working with here. Another one that works. Sweet. I didn't want to take the SSD out to look at the size either, because I'm going to probably guess it's 240 gigabytes, just like the other one was. So the BIOS is 2021. Well, at least they kept that up to date. Yeah, this is the exact same. The only difference is the memory clock is a little lower at 1333. But it's not really like it matters much, because these really aren't gaming PCs. They're, just desktops, mini desktops. Yeah, and that's an 870 EVO 250 gig Samsung drive. So that's a really good drive in there, actually. That's nice. On board. Okay, so that's 3 working now. So I'm going to assume that all of them are in working condition, technically. If any of them need work, the work they only need is very minor. So that's pretty cool. So the plan for these machines probably is a couple of them are going to be upgraded to some i7s, and I'm going to see about upgrading the RAM. And for my home lab, I'm going to cluster them, because right now I have an R730 XD, which is using quite a bit of power. When I first got it, it was okay, but now because of the increase in cost of everything, because of the AI, all this other bullshit, well, power costs is skyrocketing. So I have to find ways to cut costs while keeping things working the way I need them to be working. So when she called me and said, oh, hey, we got the stuff, and then she sent the pictures of these mini PCs with the power cords, I'm like, oh, hell yes, grab those. Because I've been looking for machines like this for a while. Like, I was hoping to get some like Intel 6th gen or 8th gen, but 4th gen is definitely still usable. And the 16 gigabytes of RAM that these can take is definitely going to help a lot. 8 gigs you can still do a lot with, but that is awesome. So we have 9 of these M93Ps. They're practically all identical, just the only difference is the drive. Some of them probably have hard drives in them too, I don't know. But I'm not too concerned about that. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will post future videos when it comes time for me to do more with these machines. Have a good one.